Well, thank you very much, Brian. Why we are live at Status here in Nairobi, where President William Ruto was just named as the nominees for the remaining slots in cabinet. And like it was widely expected, they are nominees from the Orange Democratic Movement. Now, one thing to point out is that all the nominees from the opposition do come from the ODM. That includes former Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho, who, like you've said, has been nominated to the Blue Economy docket. We've also seen, or rather heard, the former governor of Kakamega County, Wycliffe Ambetsa Paranya, being nominated to head the cooperatives docket. We've also seen the leader of minority in the National Assembly, that is James Wandai, being nominated to the Ministry of the docket of Energy and Petroleum, initially held by Davis Chirchir, who was moved to the transport docket during the last naming of the nominees to the cabinet. We've also seen the nominated MP and the chairperson for the Orange Democratic Movement, that is John Barry, being nominated to the Ministry of Treasury and National Planning. Now, apart from the nominees from the opposition party, we've also seen Rebecca Miano being returned, and renominated to the docket of tourism. We've also seen Kipchumba Murkomen, who was initially the CS for Transport and Infrastructure, moved to the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs, thereby replacing Abrabu Namwamba. Now remember, this docket is very important, it being that Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania did win the joint bid to host the African Cup of Nations in 2027. Now, apart from that, Alfred Mutua has been renominated again to the Ministry of Labour, as well as Salim Vuya has been nominated to the Ministry of Trade and Investment. Now, it is also worth noting that yesterday there were two factions of the Orange Democratic Movement. One allied, or rather led by the SG of the party, that is Edwin Sifuna, the Nairobi Senator, and the Governor of Siaya, James Agui Orengo, who said they do not want to get into any pact with the ruling party. Now, the other side, which is led by John Barry, who was very, very vocal in trying to ensure that the government gets into a deal with the opposition, said we must get into this deal. And in a rally during the weekend back in Kisumu County, did say that indeed we must take this deal. Now, that begs the question, what next for the opposition? Because we've not seen members nominated from the Wiper Party or from the Jubilee side of the coalition. So that leaves a lot to be desired, and of course we'll be waiting to hear from them. That includes Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, as well as the Jubilee faction that is led by Jeremiah Kioni, which we do know is allied to former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. But now, just to point out, is that eyes will turn to the National Assembly for the vetting process. But what questions will Kenyans ask? What will Kenyans say in regards to the final list that has been named by President William Ruto, having in mind that some of the nominees named today did serve in the previous cabinet? We saw the backlash that came from the nomination of those 6 CS nominees who served in the previous cabinet to this current cabinet. So we'll be waiting to see what Kenyans will have to say. We'll be giving you feedback from across the country just to try and understand what is the situation. Now, apart from the cabinet, the president has also talked about the protests that we've witnessed, and rather assuring those who are injured, those who lost their loved ones, that the government will chip in and assist them in trying to give their loved ones a befitting send-off. Now, those who lost those whose properties were destroyed or either invaded by goons and property destroyed, who lost their property running to millions of shillings, the president has said they will be of course assessing, and he has directed the respective ministries to vet and get the right data to ensure that those who are affected by the demonstrations indeed be rather help to get back to their feet. Now, one other thing is that the president also talked about the National Police Service, and he said that in accordance to the law, in accordance to the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, they must be able to, of course, engage protesters in a way that is stipulated in the Kenyan Constitution. Remember, there's been a backlash regarding the use of excessive force by police officers on protesters here in the country, especially during the Gen Z demonstrations, which, of course, happened yesterday. So there are a lot of measures that the president has announced, and he has said there's a good need, there's a very, very good need to ensure that everybody is heard, and including the Gen Z protesters. He now says his government will embark on a mission to just try and understand and ensure that all the demands made by the youth are fully addressed. Now, before I hand you, I get you back to studio, I just want to announce give you a view of the amendments that the president has proposed. And he said he's proposing amendment to the Evidence Act that with all statutes relating to corruption. Now, he said the cases must be concluded within 6 months. He's also said he's proposing an amendment to the Witness Protection Act, and of course that is to incentivize the whistleblowers. He's also proposed amendments to rather he's working with Parliament to pass the Conflict of Interest Bill, which shall give him the veto powers, the veto rather, to any bill enacted if it does not guarantee accountability. Now, the president talked about 400 billion shillings, and he said the 400 billion shillings is spent annually on tax expenditure, especially VAT refunds, and he said the process is opaque, in his own words, with the limited accountability. Now, to counter that, he said within 90 days he will push for legislative framework to make it an open process, as the amount of money being used, which is taxpayers' money, is extremely high, and therefore the process should not be opaque. Well, I'm aware that is just an update from you here from here State House in Nairobi, but of course we'll be continuing to follow getting to hear the reactions of Kenyans from the final list of nominees, which, like I said, as a list of members from the opposition party, that is Orange Democratic Movement. Amwai, back to you.
All right, that is Ian Kitani with an update all the way from the State of Nairobi, where President William Ruto was addressing the nation and naming part of his cabinet as he continues to push for forming a government of national unity. Now, I want us to cross over to Nakuru with our reporter on the ground to get the feeling and reactions from Kenyans as far as this particular naming of this cabinet nominees is concerned. Over to you, Mumbi.
Good afternoon, Amwai. Indeed, the president has addressed quite a number of issues, including police brutality as well as corruption. But most importantly, he has named the nominees for the cabinet secretary's seat. And here in Nakuru County, I'd like to engage some of the residents to give us their sentiments regarding the same. Remember, some of the CSs have been reshuffled, so I don't know what they have to say, but let's get a number of them to talk about it. Karibu sana. Karibia sana. Karibu. Tueleze majina yako, umeweza kusikiza hotuba ya rais, ameweza kuwatangaza wale ambao ni mawaziri ambao wameteuliwa, labda kuhusiana tu na wewe, unaona tunaendelea vizuri au vipi?
Kwa majina ni Samuel Maina. Okay. Kwa majina ni Samuel Maina, mimi ni fundi ya stima. Kwa hiyo nimeona president amejaribu kwa hiyo mabadiliko kadhaa, lakini tulikuwa tunagojea nyuso mpya. Kama angekuwa ametufikiria mtu kama Matiani amweke kwa education, maybe maneno inaweza kuwa at least iko sawa, lakini kwake amejaribu, lakini amerudisha the same people yenye tunaona hii vijana walikuwa hataki.
Labda tumeona ameweza kuwatoa mawaziri fulani kutoka kiti hichi kuwaweka kwenye kingine. Labda unaona labda anajaribu kuweka mambo sawa sawa.
Kwake tunaona amejaribu, at least kuna change na ameanza kusikiza maoni ya Wakenya. Kwetu tunafurahia, lakini kwangu kwa roho ningetaka at least aweke nyuso mpya, mtu kama Matiani kwa education. Wakenya wanaweza kuwa na amani na wanaweza, watoto wetu wanaweza kuwa na maoni mzuri. Yes.
Thank you. We also remember that the Gen Zs have been on the front line just talking about governance and how the president should look into some of these issues. And I think we have a Gen Z here, karibia tu. Mwanzo tuanzie kwa jina lako. Wewe ni kijana, umeona kwamba vijana wamekuwa barabarani tu wakizidi kutetea maswala mbalimbali tu kuhusiana na utendakazi wa serikali. Tuanzie na jina lako na utuambie maoni yako ni yepi kuhusiana tu na rais kuweza kufanya mabadiliko katika wale mawaziri. Karibu sana.
Kwa majina naitwa John, na kulingana na vile rais ameteua cabinet angefanya hivyo, alistahili kurudisha nyuso mpya. Sasa watu wenye amerudisha kama akina kuna Mulkomen, kuna Aden Duale, hao angewaweka kando, at least alete nyuso mpya, at least so that we can see our nation is inaendelea kwa njia inayofaa. Lakini kurudisha hao mawaziri wa kitambo inatuonyesha sisi kama Gen Z we are not, hatumuamini, hatuna imani naye tena.
Shukran sana. Wacha niweze kuungana pia na kijana mwingine hapa. Tueleze jina lako na utueleze wewe kama Gen Z labda unaona rais ameweza kuchukua mkondo ambao unaofaa. Tuanzie kwa majina.
Majina ni Samuel. Kwa upande ya mabadiliko amejaribu, lakini tuliingia kwa streets kudemand new leadership, new faces. Alidissolve cabinet, lakini so far amerudisha wale maisha ni kama tulitokea kazi bure. Tukaandamana kazi bure juu wenye tulikuwa tukiandamana watolewe, amerudishwa, wengine wao kubadilishwa, which is hakuna kazi so far amefanya. Tumeona hii inaweza kuwa ni substantial. Juu so far we expecting new faces, waanze new work. Kurudisha the corrupt people, reshuffling sio solution hapo. Yeah.
Kwa hivyo wewe kama Gen Z unaona labda vijana watazidi kuelekea barabarani?
Mgomo bado iko, haijasimama. Na kama vile nasema tuko tukidemand wavutwe wote, wengine waanzishwe kazi wapya. Lakini sasa hii kurishafu sioni kama kuna kitu amefanya so far. Hakuna.
Thank you. Amwai, as you can hear the sentiments here in Nakuru County, the residents, including the Gen Zs as well as the older generation, they're talking about they're not satisfied. The president ought to have, done away with the whole cabinet and bring in new faces. Those are the sentiments from Nakuru County. My name is Mumbi Wambogo.
All right, thank you, Mumbi Wambogo, for that particular update and just speaking to the people on the ground in Nakuru and hearing their sentiments as far as the state of the national address by the president is concerned. Now, I want to get us into a conversation here in studio and just try to make sense of whatever has happened today as far as naming of these cabinet secretaries is concerned in terms of nominating them for the possible appointment to these particular ministries. Let me start with Augustine Omondi. Thank you so much for making time for this conversation here. Has the speech by the president met your expectations?
Thank you so much. I don't think if the president's speech has met my expectation. Reason being, when the reason why we're having the cabinets, I think reintroducing the cabinets right now is because people of Kenya went to the streets, and those were the Gen Z. There was a very specification when the president said that we need a broad-based kind of cabinet. We didn't expect a political recycling kind of cabinet, because what's happening right now that the president is going for his own friends politically. Some of them are even members of parliament and are being given political seats in terms of cabinet secretary. So it has not met the expectation, not of me, but even the common mwananchi who went to the streets for the purposes of having a broad-based kind of a cabinet that is future-oriented and manifest-oriented. So I think at this time again, maybe, but this time again the president have missed it. He has to sit down and rethink, how can I meet when we talk about the broad-based? Is it a recycling of political leaders who are political orphans who miss their political seats during the campaign, or are we having technocrats, people who are qualified to be in this position? So I think at this point again the president has missed it.
Dan, yes. Did that nomination meet your expectations? We had the first one, and there's a lot of sentiments as far as recycling the people that were in the previous cabinet, with people asking why did we send all of them home if at all we are just going to get them back. But today we are seeing, yes, there are faces that we are very used to, but not in that cabinet, from the political class and mostly the opposition. Did it meet your expectation? Is this what you're looking for at?
It's half true, half false. Essence that when I say half false is that the demand by the public, that the Gen Z and even general public, was that we need to have a fresh cabinet, fresh people, fresh idea, and a fresh start. Right? But the president has brought in some of the old guys who were the previous cabinet before being dismissed. And also he has tapped in from the political arena, that is from ODM, likes of Mbadi, likes of the likes of Paranya come into the game. Even though we may see them as new people in the cabinet, but these are the same players in the same game of politics. So in either way, it is half true, half false. But at the end of the day, it's a broad-based government.
Broad-based government, indeed. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
people went to the streets demanding a lot from the head of state. And I was having a conversation here the other day, and talks of we seem to be making one step forward and 5 steps backwards. Is this a step forward or is this a step backwards? Are we making any positive when it comes to positive steps that are going to be very not detrimental to the nation and also quell the issues that we've been able to see in the past few days as far as protests are concerned?
You see, at some point, it's very clear that the government intends to make positive steps forward. At some point, you see, when people demand for disband the cabinet, then the president does so. It means the president is tending to make a step forward. But now, when we expect the president to move it more forward or move it into a better place, then he make 10,000 steps backward. How does he make 10 steps backward? When the president is not able to reconsider the people that are qualified to be in these positions, more specifically, let me say youth, because even if you look at the face of the cabinet that I have announced now, there is nothing, anything beyond or anything between what the Kenyan people expected, like in terms of we expected youths, we expected people qualified. But at this point, the president has made like 10,000 steps backward. It means he's telling people that, though I disbanded the cabinet, but I still don't care about what you people are saying. I don't care about what people are saying, because the many people that have been put in this cabinet, if you look at them, for example, how can you give an elected leader a post overseas, whereas we're having very many qualified people outside? Why? How can you give people who have, people like Oparanya? Oparanya was a governor for 2 terms. He was done. How can you give him a political seat? It means the president does not care about the plea of Kenyans who are in the streets. When we talk about broad-based kind of cabinet, we don't expect political unison whereby the opposition and the government sit down and comes up with their leaders and they force peace into people. And remember, when people are going to the streets, it was not for the purpose of the opposition to gain. At this point, you see opposition have gained. And it seems that the president on his own, he's working on his 2027 re-election. He don't care about what other young people are saying, because if you look at the people that he has brought on board, these are politicians. It's like a reward. And at some point, we can say that the president is coming out through to be an ODM member. Why is he an ODM member? Because the people that he is saying that I was a son in this house, I moved out, I went, I hunted, I've gotten, for example, a goat. Now you guys can come and we can share. And if you can see, the reason why I can say that it's not a broad-based, maybe we can say that he has considered Azimio, right? Where others, because Azimio is not one pot, is not an ODM, where other Azimio members in this particular broad-base. So I think the president need again to rethink, even if he can rethink over it again, then before he submit the names to parliament, and maybe do some reshuffle the way he did with the Minister of Defense and the Minister of Environment. He has to think about the common mwananchi who wants to be represented in this particular cabinet. This particular cabinet is not for very specific tribes or very specific region or very specific people. It is for all Kenyans. We want to see Turgen people in this cabinet. We want to see Ogiek in this cabinet. We want to see a youth in this cabinet. We want to see all political members whose political time has expired. So the president again should rethink. I heard him say that, oh, this thing was very secret.
Augustine, what impact will this one have, this particular, especially the names that you're mentioning, most of them coming from the ODM party? We are not even going to call it Azimio. Most of them coming from the ODM party. What does this speak to the nation at large when we look at this and see this?
No, this is a clear indication that the government doesn't care about the people of Kenya at all. It has no intention of listening to any common mwananchi. It has no intention of making things right. And it has no intention of ensuring that we have proper leaders in place.
Okay.
And just to mention, for the first time, you see this parliament that we're having, they can't be trusted. They can't be trusted at all, because now you will see them, they will pass all these names without even knowing, because both the opposition and the government.
Yesterday when they were actually, having the sitting, they said, we need the president to forward the rest of the names because already the ones that he has forwarded, we are going to pass them and things like that. I want us to cross over to, I believe I saw a report on the ground in Eldoret, if I was in Gishu County, Timothy Simwa. Timothy, what are the reactions of the people on the ground as far as the naming of the cabinet is concerned, and also the speech of the president at large? All right, we apologize for that. Hitch, at the moment we get a hand of team, we will actually be crossing over, because we were able to see that he has a very huge crowd behind him, ready to react to what the president did say today. And I believe I'm being told that he's ready right now. Team, if you can hear me, kindly bring us up to date with the reactions on the people of Eldoret as far as the statement from the head of state is concerned with these new faces that, quote unquote, we want to see in cabinet. So.
Well, Amwai, a lot of excitement on the ground within Western Gishu County, telling from the numbers that have come out just to have a discourse around the speech that has been delivered by the head of state this afternoon, that also included naming the rest of the cabinet after giving out a few names sometime last week. Of course, coming out clearly is the issue of having a broad-based cabinet like he had promised in many of his speeches before today. And members of the public, obviously, Amwai, have a lot to speak into these issues. And we know that it's not just about the naming of the cabinet. The president has talked about the issues that have been informing Gen Z demonstration, front and center, the issue of corruption, announcing one or two things that he thinks will make sure that we can fix an issue that has become intractable within this country for a very long time. That's the issue of corruption. So just allow me to, speak to residents of Western Gishu County. Tutazungumza kwa lugha Kiswahili. Nitaomba nianze na mzee wangu hapa kidogo. Mzee, rais ametangaza, baraza la mawaziri akatangaza na mambo mengine kama ya kukabili ufisadi hapa nchini. Napenda utoe hisia zako kwa kifupi tu. Wewe umeridhishwa na tangazo hili, hasa ikizingatiwa kwamba tumeona viongozi wa upinzani wameshirikishwa katika baraza la mawaziri. Utaanza kwa kusema jina.
Yes. Okay, kwa majina mimi naitwa Wilson Mulwa, mimi ni mkaaji wa Uasin Gishu. Maoni yangu ni kwamba vile rais amefanya siku ya leo imeturidhisha kwa sababu ameunganisha vyama vyote, na utaona ya kwamba Kenya kwa sababu ya mambo ya ufisadi itaenda mbele na itakuwa haraka sana kukua kwa sababu wamehusisha vyama vyote kwa mawaziri ambayo amewachagua.
Sawa sawa. Yes. Asante sana mzee wangu kutenga muda wako. Labda niweze kuungana tu na baadhi ya wananchi ambao wako hapa. Utaanza kwa jina lako na utuambie hisia zako ni zipi kuhusiana na baraza jipya la mawaziri ambalo rais ameweza kutangaza hii leo.
Kwa majina naitwa K24 na mimi nataka nishukuru rais kwa msimamo na hiyo mpango ameweza kufanya siku ya leo. In fact amechelewa, angefanya hii maneno mapema. Sasa tuko na ministers at least wenye wako na experience, wamefanya kazi kwa serikali, na ukijaribu kuona the likes of Oparanya ni watu walideliver wakiwa governor pale Kakamega. Ukiangalia Joe alifanya kazi poa. So the issue of inclusivity, it is now sorted out. The likes of Nuru Okanga, the likes of Mosha Kababa wanawa, watu walike Jakaranda. Tunakuja sasa hakuna beef, huko kuna mkate na zile tutakuja soda.
Sana. Labda tuweze kupata maoni tu ya mkazi mwingine hapa. Dadangu, wewe hisia zako ni zipi?
Kwa majina naitwa Faith Kigen. Siku ya leo niko na furaha. Nashukuru sana rais wetu Dr. William Samoei Ruto kwa kusimama imara. Na shukuru kwa sababu aliturudishia waziri wetu Oliver Kipchumba Murkomen. Tunashukuru sana, tuko na furaha. Tunajua kuna wengine walifurahi siku yenye waziri Murkomen alifutwa kazi, lakini tunashukuru rais kwa sababu alirudisha. Tunajua ni Murkomen mwenyewe alisimama na rais wakati alikuwa anamtafutia kura, wakati hakuna mtu mwenye alikuwa anasimama na Ruto, na tunashukuru sana rais kwa kuwa hakumfungia nje. Nashukuru sana.
Sawa sawa, asante sana. Labda mwingine tu hapo kwa kifupi.
Okay. Kwa majina naitwa Kevin, mimi ndio kiongozi wa vijana hapa Uasin Gishu County. Ningependa kushukuru rais kwa yale maneno amefanya siku ya leo, kwa sababu rais amefanya maneno ambayo sisi wananchi tulikuwa tuna expect. Ile kitu tunataka rais, wale cabinet ambao wamekuwa selected siku ya leo, ni kwamba wafanye kazi. Hii sasa ni wakati wa kufanya kazi. Hii sio hiyo wakati ya kucomplain tena, kwa sababu tukiendelea kucomplain, this country belongs to all of us. This country belongs to everyone, and we wanted a broad-based government for this country, and we wish to ask all the youth, let us give time the president to work. Let us give time president to develop this country. Let us give time the president to transform this country. Because at the end of the day, when we still complain or maybe we demonstrate, we will not get whatever we wanted. We will ruin everything and we will burn this country to down. Otherwise, rais mfanya kitu ya mzuri. Asante.
Kwa majina naitwa Joshua Kemboi. Mimi nimefurahi sana vile rais amefanya hivyo. Ile kitu nimeona tu tena nimefurahi sana. ODM ya 207, 208 imekuwa imerudi sasa vizuri sana. Kwanza mimi nafurahia sababu wameungana na baba. Ya pili, nyinyi ni watu wa media. Mbona mnasema polisi ni wabaya? Saa zile wanarusha tear gas, muko na polisi. Mwende huko, mnaenda kuripoti ati polisi ni wabaya na mnasimama side ya polisi.
Hatujaripoti hivyo mzee. Tumezungumzia tu visa ambavyo waandishi wa habari waliumizwa na polisi.
Tunasema waandishi wa habari waende side ya kurusha mawe, alafu polisi wakae pande hii. Ndio msiseme ati polisi ndio wana.
Tunalielewa hilo mzee, tunalielewa. Asante.
Ya mwisho ni kwamba wale wamebaki waangalie sehemu zingine, sababu naona imekuwa Western, Nyanza, lakini for the first time Jaluo ndio ya finance.
Asante mzee. Labda kwa kifupi maoni yako yalipo.
Thank you. My name is Jerry Mokelo. I want to be very much categorical, Simwa, that number one, we were looking for qualification and competence. And we want to thank the president that he has nominated Mbadi as the Minister for Treasury. But the other side, also the flip side of it is, being that now the opposition has come now into the government. Now, how are we now going to criticize where there is now, so that we can have check and balances in the government? So I want also to throw that to the president. But the most important thing is the unity of the nation. And that is what's important. We want whereby everybody is included in the government and everybody feel part of the government. And therefore, I want to congratulate those people that have been nominated. But we want competence and we want people to deliver. We are watching them. Yes, yes.
In the interest of gender, just briefly, tafadhali.
Kwa majina naitwa Lucy Chepol. Ya kwanza kabisa nataka ni congratulate His Excellency President for today nominees of our CS. At least we have seen competence now in our nation. Na the likes of like Wycliffe Oparanya, venye alikuwa governor alideliver, of which atadeliver to our nation. And like Murkomen, we say congratulations for coming back. There's those people who celebrated venye alienda nyumbani, but because His Excellency amerudisha, tuna congratulate. And again, His Excellency President, we say congratulations for uniting the nation na kukutana na akina baba waongee ndio hii mambo ya protest ishe kwa our country. Thank you so much.
Fine. Amwai, this is not a discussion that is going to come to an end anytime soon. Remember, these are ongoing issues, and from the wording of the president, this is work in progress. And you've had members of the public giving their views as far as the issue of the cabinet is concerned. Perhaps it's fair to mention there is some level of contentment from the names that came out today. What remains is to see whether they're going to deliver on their mandate and at least regain the trust that appears to have eroded over time, basing on the performance of the previous cabinet. Back to you in studio.
All right, that is Timothy Simwa from Eldoret, Wasingishu County, with an update on some reactions of how people are reacting to the speech by the head of state and actually reconstituting his cabinet. Now, I want to cross over to Zimmerman here in Nairobi, where our reporter Ben Kirira is on the ground to just get us feedback as far as the current conversation is concerned. Ben, what are the people of Zimmerman saying as far as President William Ruto's broad-based government is concerned?
Well, Brian, the term broad-based government is one that has come up several times now, while the President, William Ruto, has been addressing the nation, and for over a month now, we have had protests across different regions in the country. And what the major thing people have been calling for, or rather the youth have been calling for, is a change in leadership of this particular government. Quite recently, we saw the head of state fire away his cabinet. And again, just recently, he has, in two incidences, appointed cabinet secretaries for several ministries. Just today, moments ago, we have had a number of them named again, and he said he's not done yet. But in these two instances, we've seen quite a number of names repeat themselves from the former cabinet. We have seen Kithure Kindiki in the first instance named as the appointee, or rather nominee, of the Ministry of Interior Security. And as you will recall, Kithure Kindiki has also served in that particular position as soon as this government took power once they're done with the elections. We've also seen today, just moments ago, quite a number of names have been released. We've seen one of them, Kipchumba Murkomen, named under the Ministry of Youth Affairs. But entirely we need to know Kenyans called for these changes. Are they satisfied with these changes that the president is making? Allow me to engage some of them just to know what their opinion is. Please begin with the names and tell us the changes that the president has been making in his cabinet in the last 2 instances. Are you satisfied with what he's making, and are you optimistic that these new individuals, and some of them old individuals or rather former individuals, will bring positive change to the country?
Nimesikia asante, lakini wacha nijibu na Kiswahili. Kwa maoni yangu naweza sema lazima kukue kuna nini ilisababisha hiyo changes yote. Ni kuwa wananchi hawakuwa wamefurahishwa sana na serikali vile inaenda. So kwa chenye inafanyika kwa sahi naweza sema haijaenda kulingana na vile Mkenya anaweza kuwa anatarajia. Manaka watu wanatarajia ama tulikuwa tunatarajia kuona nyuso mgeni. Lakini vile narudisha wenye walikuwa ni kama haikuwa na maana ya kuvuja ile cabinet. So naweza sema kwa sahi vile wamebadilisha hiyo cabinet kwa mara ya kwanza na hii mara nyingine ya pili, ni kama anarudisha kitu ambayo ilikuweko, haikuwa na maana ivujwe mwanzo pale. Kwa jingine kuna swali mtu angefaa kuwa anajiuliza yeye mwenyewe. Kulikuwa na sababu ya kuvuja ama ilikuwa kwanza usikize ni nini wananchi wanasema ndio kama ndio ufike kuvuja ama kutoa ile cabinet ilikuwa. Manake kama angesikiza wananchi kwanza, angebasikiza asikize ajue wana pointi hii na wana pointi hii, ndio kama ni kutoa mwingine na kurudisha mwingine ikuwe ni kitu hata wananchi watatosheka nayo.
Asante sana. Pengine tupate maoni ya kijana ambaye tunafahamu vijana ambao ni kundi la Gen Z wamekuwa kitaka mabadiliko katika uongozi wa taifa hili. Je, umepata kutazama hotuba za rais mbili zilizopita akizungumzia mawaziri wapya ambao wamewateua katika nyadhifa mbalimbali ama katika wizara mbalimbali? Je, umeridhika na hatua ya rais?
That is my comment. That's bullshit. I'm sorry to use that. Kile ambacho ametupatia ni recycle bin. And when you recycle something in the recycle bin, ama kitu umeweka hata haijakuwa recycled bado, inatoka inakuwa na uchafu zaidi. So he has just shown us how dirty and corrupt, and I don't even have the words to say, but he has shown us how he does not listen to the people who put him in power. And that for me is the highest form of injustice. Tuko hapa bado, you can see we are still here in Zimmerman saying that the atrocity that happened during the night, if we can still feel the tear gas paka wakati huu, uko hapa ni mchana saa 8 unasikia bado tear gas kwa macho yako, na ni tear gas ambayo ilipigwa usiku. What does that tell you? He has put back people that we don't even know how if they are of right mind, because the immorality that is also in that cabinet, not the people that is at hand. Thank you.
Does this mean that as the Gen Z, the protest will continue?
I wouldn't comment on that for now, but I will.
Is that this is not a new appointment. This is basically a reshuffling, and they essentially are rather ultimately calling for new individuals to be appointed into these positions, and hopefully to be able to propel the country into achieving most of its targets, which it has failed in the last 2.5 years, so that we're able to achieve this in the next 2.5 years, even as we look ahead to the 2027 general elections. Back to you, Brian.
Right, that is Ben Kirira here in Nairobi, Zimmerman, talking to the people on the ground to just get their sentiments on the current state of affairs as far as reconstituting the cabinet of President William Ruto is concerned. We want to cross over to Mombasa. Our reporter Boniface Musangi is on the ground. Boniface, what's happening in Mombasa? How are people reacting to this information?
Indeed, 10 more cabinets have been named today here, and the name which many residents of Mombasa here have come out to congratulate is Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho. With me are just some of the youth here. I'll just talk to them, but they are happy. They say the former governor was their friend, and he has done some work which they have seen here in Mombasa, and also he's a youth. According to them, he is a youth to them because he conducted several music concert here in Mombasa, and also in terms of development, he has participated a lot in ensure that the health sector has improved, and also him being in the Ministry of Blue Economy and Blue Economy and mining, it is a big achievement according to them here. They say that the blue economy is a sector which has got a lot of interest and also opportunities for them. They will be benefiting from them. But I'll just talk to them to see what they have to say. Hamjambo, nimeweza kutana nyinyi hapa hivi, mnaitwa nani? Perhaps I'll start with you. Kiswahili tuende ama Kizungu, you can choose any. What do you have to say about the nomination of these 10 more cabinets and putting into consideration that Mombasa governor is also among the 10?
I think it's great that it's now an inclusive cabinet that has both the opposition and the current party that's ruling. And I would just urge the people who have gotten this position that yes, this power does come with great responsibility, and we hope that they'll bring oncoming projects that are going to be lucrative to the nation and to the counties, and that these projects are going to create a lot of job creation, and that we are all going to benefit from them working for us.
But do you, according to your opinion, what do you have to say by the former Mombasa governor having nominated to take the seat of the CS mining and blue economy? Do you have a confidence in him?
Yes, I do have confidence in him. I mean, he was the governor for 10 years, so I'm sure that there is something that the president saw that he's able to bring to this particular docket. So we just pray for him. We pray for him that he does his best and he makes us proud and he brings us in with him and we can all work together.
But there was a call from the Gen Z that they were urging the president to look for professionals and also those people who are younger. What's your take on that?
I really do wish that he did pick a few of the Gen Z youth because yes, we do have big ideas. We perhaps may have better ideas and we feel like we can make it work and we can bring on better things to be done. And it's like a change of perspective.
Thank you very much. Hujambo dada, simama hapa katikati hapa. Una yapi kuzungumzia kuhusiana uteuzi ambao umefanyika sasa?
Ndiyo, tunashukuru kwanza kuwa kuna mteule mmoja CS ametoka Mombasa ambayo tuliona kazi yake aliyoitenda hasa kwa uchaguzi wa alivyokuwa former governor, masipitali alivyotengeza, mabarabara na vijana alivyokuwa anashughulika na mavijana. So hiyo position amepewa, at least kutakuwa na jobs opportunities ambao wata create kutoka kwa mavijana ambao itasaidia pia vijana kukaa idle.
Na hii wizara ambayo Joho ameshika ilikuwa kuna waziri kutoka kaunti ya Kwale, Salim Mvurya. Hivi sasa amehamishwa hadi wizara nyingine. Salim Mvurya amepelekwa wizara tofauti na ile ambayo alikuwa yuko kwa sasa, hadi wizara ya investment. Pengine unaona Joho atatoboa?
Ndiyo atatoboa, kwa maana tumeamini siku zote Joho ni mchapakazi. Ndiyo atatoboa, ataiweza. Ndiyo.
Hawa mawaziri wengine je, tumeweza kuona kama Gen Z mlikuwa mnashinikiza kwamba vijana wapewe nafasi. Hamtaki watu wengine waweze kujumuishwa katika baraza hili la mawaziri wala ambao hawaja qualify ama hawana vile vigezo. Kwa sasa nimeona kumeweza kuingizwa wanasiasa. Mnataka kuzungumzia swala hilo?
Swala hilo pia kidogo liko kuna tashwishi, lakini tunaomba pia vijana wa consider vijana sana. Izakuwa yes wamepewa the opportunity kuwa mbele, sasa ni hao washuke chini kwa mavijana. When they get the opportunity wakishukisha chini kwa mavijana, sisi pia tunaweza wapatia the idea ya kufanya hizo nanio zao kazi ambao wameteuliwa kufanya.
Neno moja Joho angependa afanye? Gavana alikuwa gavana, sasa ni waziri mteule katika kitengo cha Blue Economy, uchumi samawati.
Mimi ningependelea tu asisahau vijana chini kwa sababu hiyo kazi aliyopewa ni kazi nzuri sana na kutengeza pesa.
Asante. Ni kazi nzuri sana. Songa tu karibu dada, na wewe songa tumalize mahojiano yetu moja kwa moja hapa. Naona nyinyi bila shaka hamna raha. Simama tu hapa, mbona mnaenda mbali? Simameni hivi. Jengine unazungumzia vipi swala hili la uteuzi wa mawaziri hawa wapi? Ukitazama tu mbele hivi, unalizungumzia vipi?
Well, mimi kwangu, mimi nasikia upande wa waziri Joho kuchaguliwa na Uparanya ambaye alikuwa former governor wa Kakamega, mimi nasikia raha. Kwa sababu gani? Joho ni mtu ambaye ni mchapakazi na najua atakapoingia atakumbuka vijana wake huko nyuma alioacha. Na hiyo kazi aliyopewa bado imeshikilia upande wa Mombasa, kwa hivyo Mombasa tuko mbele.
Tuko na Uparanya pia mwingine, songa tu hivi, tuko na Uparanya pia mwingine, tuko na Kipchumba Murkomen. Waziri pia ameweza kurudi kwa sasa. Unazungumzaje swali lile lote?
Well, kuhusu Murkomen hiyo nayo ari angekaa tu asingechaguliwa tena. Yeah. Lakini Oparanya ni sawa, former governor wa Kakamega, at least ameingiza watu ODM. Lakini bado pia angeweka ODM pia zaidi kidogo, tujue wako wengi kiasi.
Ili serikali iwe mseto.
Yeah.
Asante sana basi. These are just some of the views from Mombasa resident here. Majority of them who are just Gen Z here, they just say that they have accepted the nomination of these 10 CSS, but they have question on why the Gen Z and the youth have not been considered on the 10 nominees of the CSS. From Mombasa, I am Boniface Msangi. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Msangi, for that particular report and getting the feedback and reactions from people from Mombasa County. Most of them are saying they're congratulating the president for actually considering nominating former Mombasa governor, that is Ali Hassan Joho. Now we do want to cross over to Machakos, where our reporter Electin Odera is on standby with an update and reactions from the ground on how people are reacting to these particular nominations. Over to you, Electin.
Thank you so much, Brian. Machakos County, maybe I could say, residents could maybe say it is one of the lucky counties after Dr. Alfred Mutua, who was former Machakos governor, managed to be renominated again into the list of President William Ruto's cabinet CS, that maybe if proved by Parliament or the National Assembly, that they will be serving the nation and he will be serving in the Ministry of Labour. However, I really need to get the views of Machakos residents regarding the other people that have been nominated by President William Ruto into his cabinet list. So allow me to talk to this. Good afternoon. You're live on K24. We have gone through some of the cabinet nominees by President William Ruto. According to you, because we've seen some politicians, especially those allied to the opposition, like Ambetsa Oparanya, who was the former Kakamega governor. We have seen the list also. We're having John Badi and minority leader, that is Opio Wandai, coming into the list of President William Ruto's CS nominees. What are your views on the same?
First of all, I'll start by saying that my name is Robert Wambua. I'm the Kanu chairman, Mwala branch. And I want to start by saying that I'm very much disappointed with President William Ruto. First of all, because that he dissolved the cabinet. And after dissolving the cabinet, he brought it back again, the guys who he had already sent home. So he's just sending garbage out and bringing garbage in. I'm also disappointed with Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga knows very well the problems which this country is facing. Na tumekuwa tukimuuliza na tukimulilia asijaribu kuungana na serikali ya Kenya Kwanza. Lakini Raila Odinga pia na yeye kama the Kenya Kwanza government pia amekataa kusikiza wa Kenya. Ameenda akajiunga na William Samoei Ruto na wanataka kutuonyesha sasa the two of them that they are going to run this country the way they want. Kwa nini? Kwa nini nasema hivyo? Nasema hivyo kwa sababu hawa watu wawili wamekataa kusikiza wa Kenya kabisa. Raila Odinga alienda kwake nyumbani akaambiwa vizuri na kwa social media na kila mahali tukamwambia kuwa hatutaki aungane na William Samoei Ruto. Lakini amezidi kuenda akaungana na yeye, ametupatia maminister. Tuanze kwanza na Wycliffe Oparanya. Oparanya ni governor amemaliza kazi yake. I want to ask a very simple question. There are no brains in Kenya which can match zinaweza fanya kazi kushinda za Oparanya in the young generation.
But he was a former Kakamega governor and according to residents of Kakamega, maybe he really performed well. Don't you think that is going to be inculcated into the ministry now he has been appointed to serve?
I just want to say that being a governor and if you performed, that doesn't mean that when you go to the national government you will also perform. Kwa nini? County ni kitu kidogo sana. Now he is going to represent the whole country. Na akienda ku represent the whole country inamaanisha now that because ameingia in party lines, kwa sababu ameingia kwa sababu ya chama ya ODM, atakuwa akiimba ile wimbo inasemekana na ODM akaimbe. That is why we were telling the president to look for people who are neutral and people who are not in political parties. Sasa hii mambo ameenda kutuletea ni mambo ya kutuonyesha kuwa wao watataka kufanya ile kitu watataka kufanya. I want to send a word to the member of parliament. Member of parliament, sasa ndio mko na kazi. Ile kazi ilikuwa ya finance bill ilikuwa kidogo sana. Hiyo ilikuwa kidogo sana. Amu kufanya kazi. This is the time you are going to see the real face of Kenyans because Kenyans are very agitated. Kenyans are they are very unhappy. Hii ni makosa sana. You say that you are going to make a government of a broad-based government. Tunaona vizuri. Azimio ni ya chama mingi. Kuna Wiper, kuna KANU, kuna chama zingine ziko hapo, kuna kina PNU, kuna NAK Kenya, kuna DAP, lakini hao wengine kwa sababu walikataa kwenda kwa mazungumzo, nobody from their side was taken to go and join the government. So already tunaonyeshwa hakuna opposition. I want to tell Kenyans this is a very dangerous time now. This is a very dangerous time now, and you've got nobody to fight for you. It's you to fight for yourself now.
So what do you think will be the fate, or should be the fate of the Gen Zs who have been on the streets protesting each and every Tuesday and Thursdays, trying to advocate for what they think should be done by the government of the day?
I think now this has fueled the protests so much. Kwa sababu sahi, our Gen Zs kwanza hata hakuna mtu, they don't have a representative. They don't have a representative in that cabinet. And I don't understand why it is so difficult for the government of the day to listen to the normal mwananchi. I don't understand why. Because they want our children to keep on being on the streets. I'm not a Gen Z, I'm a millennium. But wanataka watoto washinde kwa barabara saa yote wakiprotest, wakiumizwa na wakiendelea kupigania zile vitu ni obvious, kila mtu anaona wanapigania vitu za ukweli. Na uliza serikali ni kwa nini? Ni kwa nini surely? Why do you want Kenyans to keep on dying and you are not doing what they are supposed to, what they are asking for? Who do you want to lead when all Kenyans die?
Thank you so much for your sentiments. Sasa wewe umekuwa miongoni mwa vijana ambao wamekuwa kiandamana kuisukuma serikali kuweza kutekeleza baadhi ya matakwa ambayo nyinyi mnahitaji. Je, umeona huo uteuzi wa Rais William Ruto, lile baraza la mawaziri kuwajumuisha baadhi ya wanasiasa ambao tunasema ni wanasiasa wa upinzani? Nyinyi mnahisi vipi kama watu ambao wamekuwa wakishirikiana na wanajenzi katika maandamano yenu?
Bwana President, mimi nakwambia hivi. Wewe ni kama unataka kusikiza Wakenya. Na ni kama unafurahia kile inaendelea. Na mimi naambia Wakenya, President, wewe tumekuambia vizuri sana. Usirudisha wale watu ambao umewatoa. Tutaki reject. Tumekataa. Lakini tunaona viongozi, nyinyi viongozi mnapigania nyumba zenyu na matumbo zenyu na watoto wenyu. Raila, wewe ulikuwa unasema vizuri hutaki handshake. Na umekataa. Umesema utaongea na President na Ruto. Na sasa wewe Ruto ulikuwa unaongea kwa siasa yako sana. Ni kama umesaliti Gachagua. Gachagua umesalitiwa na Ruto. Hakuna kitu unaweza ukaniambia President. Wewe ulikuwa unaongea kuhusu vibaya kuhusu Raila na leo mmeshikana. Mnataka kutupeleka wapi kama sisi wa Kenya? Wa Kenya tunapotea na wa Kenya tunazama. Na Waparanya wewe ni babu. Waparanya wewe ni wa kwetu lakini wewe ni mzee. Hii kiti wewe unapewa utawezana nayo. Kiti ya county ni kiti ndogo. Sisi ulikuwa governor ukapewa kitu unataka kuongoza. Hakuna kitu kama yetu tunajua na sisi wa Kenya tumesema hivi. Wanajaizi wote. Hakuna mtu mmoja analipwa. Tangu maandamano ianze sijawahi lipwa. Na kama kuna mtu anatulipa hata Raila wewe unajua tunalipwa na nani. Because mnaongea kitu mnajua nani anatulipa sisi kama jaizi. Hakuna mtu amelipwa na mimi nimejitokeza kutoka tangu tuanze maandamano. Tunapigania maandamano ya amani, tunapigania nchi yetu. Hatupiganii nchi nchi nyingine Uganda ama Kongo ama wapi. Ni Kenya tunapigania. Lakini juu wewe Ruto umekataa kutusikiza, hatutachoka. Tutaanguka nayo. Na ujue tumechoka na hii uongozi ambayo inaendelea. Mwana bodaboda haiko kwa hii serikali. Mama mboga haiko kwa serikali. Waitangula hawa ndio viongozi ambao wanakuja kukupatia advice pale kwa bunge. Wewe ni mbunge, wewe unataka kutuambia tu wewe ni speaker na wewe ndio unadanganya president. Nyinyi ndio mnakaa chini mnakalia president. Wewe Mdavadi, hiyo kiti si yako na ufai kufanya kwa hiyo kiti. Utolewe kwa hiyo kiti tupatiwe vijana. Na vijana tuongoze nchi. Tusidanganywe tena na hii serikali. Kama ni kupotea utakufa. Na wewe president ujue miaka 5 imeisha. Hii miaka 5 imeisha. Hatutachoka. Tutapigania nchi yetu. Vijana mjitokeze na mnganganie nchi yenu. Tunapotea na tunazama. Wana media wanauliwa wanasema ati ni watu wando wamekuja kusupportiwa na sijui nini. Hiyo ni ushet. Hakuna kuna media. Nyinyi ndio mnataka kuwa media. Mkisema tunakuja katikati yao, tunakuja kuwataka kuwaibia. Hakuna mtu anaibia, hakuna serikali.
Thank you so much, Brian. This is a very frustrated resident of Machakos County trying to give his sentiments regarding the recent announcement by President William Ruto to announce or to nominate some of the CSAs into his cabinet seat. They are very frustrated and angered, and they say that they will still go to the streets vowing not to relent until their issues are addressed by the government. From Machakos County, I return back to you.
All right, those are sentiments from people in Machakos County with the elected Odera there, giving their views as far as this speech of the president is concerned. And I want us to cross to Nairobi. We are in Nairobi, but I want us to cross over to the CBD. Majibu Kisau is there. Majibu, what sort of reactions do we have from the people of the CBD?
Asante sana Mwai na mwelekezi J. Wilson mwenyewe. Niko katika bustani hii ya Jivanji ili tu kuweza kupata maoni ya Wakenya kuhusiana ni leo orodha mpya ya Rais William Ruto ambayo ametoa hivi sasa. Tumeweza kuona sura mpya kwenye lile baraza la mawaziri akiwemo Ali Hassan Joho ambaye amepewa wizara ya masuala ya mining and blue economy, ikiwa ni masuala ya madini na uchumi samawati. Pia vile vile tumeweza kuona pia Wycliffe Ambassa Oparanya pia vile vile ameweza kupewa wizara mpya, hii wizara ya masuala ya vyama vya ushirika na masuala ya biashara kwa ujumla. Nipate kauli za Wakenya kuhusiana na swala hili. Wewe, ile orodha ambayo Rais William Ruto ameweza kutoa ya baraza la mawaziri utaizungumzia vipi?
Okay, thank you for this. So let me start by telling you Kenyans. The president has decided that he will not think on the behalf of Kenyans. We have 52 million Kenyans, but the president is just bringing the old faces we know, the old faces who have been process of corruption before. So previously, when everyone was talking about dialogue, these are the only faces you know. Yesterday you can see Ali Hassan Joho was complaining that the course was sidelined, yet he knew that he was part of the nominated people for the cabinet secretaries. So you see, what I can tell Kenyans is these people, we're just giving, the president is trying to solve political environment for himself. That's what the president is trying to solve. The president is trying to deal with the ego from the opposition at the expense of 35 million Kenyans, or 52 million Kenyans, people who are unemployed. These people have jobs, these people have companies, these people have institutions. So the president is trying to just to favor the politicians who have been on the scene ever since and who are going to be there till. So Kenyans, we have to sit and see, because the president is the one that is in charge of doing all this. The nomination, these people, the same body you see has been nominated for finance, was the same person that criticizes the previous cabinet nomination on the basis that they were just politically affiliated to the president, or they were affiliated to the president in any other way. So, my fellow Kenyans, this is what happens. We should come out, cleanse these people, because they are going to use our taxes, they are going to manage our resources. But what happens is when you give people who have been there previously, what happens? They will mismanage it. So, I don't find it fair for Kenyans.
Asante. Anapinga kauli ya viongozi ambao wamekuwa kwenye ulingo wa siasa ama katika nyadhifa za uongozi awali kwamba kwa sasa hawafai kupata zile nyadhifa za waziri. Bingwa, lile baraza la mawaziri utalizungumzia vipi wewe kama Mkenya wa kawaida?
Kulingana na mimi, ukweli wa mambo ni huu, vile maandiko inasema kwamba hizi ndizo nyakati za mwisho. Maandiko inasema kwamba watu watajipenda wenyewe kwa wenyewe, hawatajali matakwa ya ule mtu wa chini wa kawaida haswa, watajipenda wao wenyewe kwa wenyewe. Na hii ni ya muda tu, nawaambia na wahakikishia wenzangu mlio hapa hivi. Maandiko inasema kwamba Musa akawaambia wale wana wa Israeli, hawa maadui ambao mnawaona hivi sasa hivi hamtawaona. Hii ni ya muda tu, wanajaribu kujificha tu. Ni hiyo tu wenzangu.
Asante. Anasema zile sura ambazo zilikuwa awali nyingine ziko pale pale, anasema nyakati za mwisho watajipenda, na ni kweli. Ni dhahiri kama tunaweza kuona ni kama ni wanajipenda kauli zao za Wakenya hizo. Pia vile vile nipate kauli za mwingine hapa. Bingwa, njoo hapa nipate kauli yako kuhusiana na hili baraza jipya la mawaziri. Gen Z walikuwa wamesema kwamba hawataki kuona sura za viongozi ambao awali walihudumu, lakini tumeweza kuona kwa mfano Kipchumba Murkomen kwa sasa ameweza kupatiwa wizara ya michezo na masuala ya vijana. Kauli yako ni ipi?
Kwa majina naitwa Bradford. It is another day that we are actually sad again, and we thought that Ruto was still going to redeem himself, because whatever we've been airing out is youth of this nation. So it is evident that we are alone as the citizens of this country. The youth of this country, the old parents, we are alone. It is about rewarding people who are loyal to them, because whatever we've been advocating for, that these people should give us now time, because the old generation, that is Raila and his people, now is coming again. Now, as in, we started this thing as youths by asking for the accountability, the transparency, and asking for anything that the questions that are not answered. Up to now, is going together with these people in the same bed, now blackmailing the youth. So we are the same people who started this thing, and we are still going back to the street.
Asante. Sasa mwelekezi ananiambia kwamba niko na dakika moja peke yake, na ningependa tushirikiane kama wanabunge, mnisikize kwa makini. Nitasoma baadhi ya majina ya wale ambao wameweza kupatiwa nyadhifa hizi za uongozi. Iwapo mnakubaliana na kwamba anaweza, mtasema ndio. Iwapo hawezi, mtasema la. Tumeelewana? Haya, tuanze na kuna John Mbadi amepatiwa wizara ya hazina ya kitaifa. Anaweza ama hawezi?
Hawezi.
Mnasema hawezi. Haya, tusonge mbele. Kuna Rebecca Miano sijamaliza. Amepatiwa wizara ya utalii. Anaweza ama hawezi?
Hawezi.
Haya, twende kwa Opiyo Wandayi. Amepatiwa hii wizara ya kawi, kwa maana energy and petroleum. Anaweza hawezi?
Hawezi.
Haya, twende kwa Ali Hassan Joho. Amepatiwa masuala sijamaliza. Amepatiwa wizara ya kuhusiana na masuala ya madini na uchumi samawati. Anaweza ama hawezi?
Hawezi kabisa.
Haya, tukimalizia twende kwa Alfred Mutua. Amepatiwa wizara ya leba. Anaweza hawezi?
Tulisema hawezi.
Tulisema kuna recycling. There's no recycling.
Hakuna.
There's no recycling.
Haya, kauli za Wakenya hizo ni wanatofautiana kabisa, na baraza jipya la mawaziri kwao si jipya, kwa maana wameweza kuona sura za viongozi ambao awali walihudumu kwenye lile baraza ama walihudumu katika nyadhifa mbalimbali za uongozi. Ndizo kauli za Wakenya hapa kwenye mkao wa bunge la mwananchi. Amwai, majibu narudisha, kwa maana washajibu mengi.
It's very difficult for we to engage.
All right, that is Majibu Kizau from the CBD here in Nairobi, getting sentiments from people on this particular conversation that we're actually having in studio with the reconstitution of the cabinet. President William Ruto did list some names today that he will be presenting to the National Assembly for consideration of his next cabinet. Now, we've heard what the people have been able to say. Different sentiments coming from different areas. Some congratulating the president for making those particular, for choosing some of these particular members, and some not very satisfied and saying this is not what we asked for. We asked for something different, and yet you're seeing that you've brought politicians again into this particular cabinet. We are seeing faces of people that you had earlier rejected, but still are giving a chance once again. I don't know. How does the future of the country look like if at all the National Assembly is going to pass to vet these names and pass them, and these people become cabinet secretaries?
I think if you look at it very well, you realize that the president is playing the 2027 political card. There's a lot of the marriage of the president and the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga. It's coming out into shape, whereby Raila's soldiers are coming into government. And if you see how it has been balanced, Raila has spread his wings into his strongholds. He has pushed a seat back into the coastal region, where he have his main person, Ali Hassan Joho. He has pushed a seat back into his main stronghold in Kakamega County, Oparanya. So just trying to balance his home, in that when the merger comes out, or if they are going to work together to 27, it may be easy for both parties to go through. In real sense, whatever we are seeing is that appointments are political. CS appointments, nothing professional reigns in so much. That is, the guy has got a professional level in a given ministry, then it's rewarded. But the biggest cape those people wear is a political appointment. Don't expect much. Don't expect much.
Okay.
With CS, those are political appointments. Let me give you a scenario.
So we shouldn't expect much, meaning the same scenario that has been playing and made people go to the streets to protest is likely to play again?
Okay, it may continue playing around, but in the strongholds, they'll seize. For example, if the Gen Zs that coast will be comfortable with Joe's appointment as the king person, do you expect much from the Gen Zs at the coast region?
But this is the thing, Dan. When people are taking to the street, we are leaderless. You know, we don't have any person.
That was a crown for everyone to wear. But when politics take shape, everybody takes back. We look, okay, where is my man? Kenyan politics is true. Where is my person? Where is he seated?
Right.
Where is my person? What has been given? From there, there will be disintegration.
That's something we should be able to get away from, because for a moment there was hope for the nation as far as not having a particular person that is leading a movement, and people, you know, are united by a common cause and not by an individual. Augustine.
Oh, you see, as much as this government is clueless in terms of what it wants to do for the people of Kenya, as much as this government is not properly seated in hearing and listening and executing the voices of Kenyans, at some point we can say that maybe we've not taken the bold step of being in a position to be seen and to be identified and to be ready to serve this country, because the moment we remain faceless, we remain formless, we remain tribalist, begs the question of whom do we pick to put in this lead, because for the country to move forward, we need leaders in place. So where are they? Where are these leaders? Because we need some people to put in place. So maybe we can say that as much as the president is formless, as much as the president is clueless in terms of what he should do for the betterment of this country, maybe the president had no choice but to go back to the political cocoon and try and solve the political dilemma, because in his appointment he has, and even if you can listen to the views of people in different parts of the country, people are saying our person has been given the opportunity. Can it be said that we've not moved, it's not yet Uhuru, we've not moved from the point of having a politics that is not tribal based, because now it's like our region has been considered. If people from Murkomen are saying at least Murkomen is back, people from Mombasa are saying at least Joho is back. Can we say that those people, they are not Gen Zs, because the Gen Zs that went to the streets to demand for justice, to demand for equitable kind of leadership, to demand for equality, to demand for an uncorrupt kind of system, has not been considered, because the people that have been put in place are known faces that are political orphans, maybe who failed, maybe who are nominated, and not the youth. Can we say that it's not yet Uhuru for this country? Can we say that the president is not interested in moving this country forward, in ensuring that we are not having a tribal-based kind of cabinet? Because what we have seen is a political reward.
Okay. Let me ask you then, because the people that went to the streets, just like you put it, are different people, despite the opposition claiming that, okay, we've been on the streets since 2022, we went to in 2023, and most of the results that you're seeing opposition getting from, or rather awards you're seeing the opposition getting from the government is as a result of whatever happened back in 2023. But away from that, why has the youth that took to the street to protest not been seen in this phase that you're seeing being listed here?
I think it's because, and that's where there is a challenge. That's why we said the moment we remain faceless, the moment we remain tribalist, the moment we remain formless, it means there is no one to engage in terms of appointments. So maybe can we say that maybe it was a failure from the part of Gen-Z for them not coming out and knowing that these are specific people who can lead us? Can we say that Gen-Zs were so selfish to the extent they didn't want another leader to be in this government? Because for us to make an impact as a Gen-Z, for us to make this government work, it's either we must be part of this government to make things work the way that we want, or the president might find a way on finding a solution on how to engage us. And from what we are seeing, it's maybe we can say that the government maybe sat down and the president maybe said, you see, the president is a clueless president. So if there is nothing on the table, he can think of anything that he can do to make things work. Maybe he thought maybe a broad-based on him is trying to involve the opposition being in place. And just to mention, this can be that maybe this can be maybe the end of ODM. Reason being, because what the president has done is exactly what President Uhuru, the retired president, did. So maybe the president knows that I cannot win 2027. Now he wants to go down with the opposition. And now that the opposition has been so mouthy, he decided to bring them on board. These positions that have been brought on board are the people that have been criticizing this government. So these are very clear opportunity for GNZs now to come out. And this is the best time. You see, the names have been read. We should now submit our opinions and our points at the clerks of the National Assembly in terms of this is what we want to hear. If we disapprove, if the People's Kenya disapproves, then the parliament disapproves. It means this is another time for the GNCs now to start now demonstration in a fresh way. Yeah. Not demonstrating anywhere, but demonstrating to the parliament to ensure that their voices are heard. And they must be ready to have people to be put in place, because if we continue this way, the government will say those are just noise because we don't have people to put in place.
Okay. Dan, did we lose an opportunity in terms of being part of the next cabinet by not going for the dialogue that the president asked for?
I think the GNZs missed a golden opportunity. The reason why I'm saying this is because, as my colleague has said, being leaderless, tribal is fine, being leaderless, you lack the head to engage the other party, which I believe that if they could have a leader in the forefront, for example, Kasamal, who the forefront, at least even though it not been appointed in the position, but the views and the trajectory of the message of the GNZ could be moving the right way. So the president had now to broaden his case in that to increase his level of defense. In that now when I'm being attacked, there are some regions where by now, if there was fire coming from a given region, it goes down. So the president is acting from a defense. But the GNZ, in terms of being represented in the government, they have lost the golden opportunity. They could have engaged.
Okay. I want us to take a look at the names that have been presented here. Ali Hassan Joho, Blue Economy. And maybe try to understand, make sense of the criteria that the president was using in terms of putting people in these particular positions. If at all he goes ahead and gets vetted and appointed for this particular position, do you think he stands a chance to making a difference and helping the president push his agenda forward as far as Kenya Kwanza is concerned and the better agenda?
First of all, this is an appointment of Joho is an abuse to Kenyans graduates and PhD holders and educationists, people who went to school, who paid school fees to go and study maybe mining in one or the other. It's an abuse to them. It's like a middle finger to the Kenyan graduates that are qualified for these positions. But again, trying to remove him right now will be very... You see, the moment the president announces or mentions your name, your region is now watching. They want to see what will happen. Will they reject our person? Will they say no? So as much as the gentleman might not be qualified for such a position, though he has a stint of trade in terms of the issue of maritime and blah, blah, because if you look, Joho is a businessman initially from that. So he's not badly off in terms of business. Though in terms of education, he's not much qualified to be given such a position. But in terms of business, maybe I think Joho is not badly off, though he's a politician. Okay. But people expected non-politicians to be given this opportunity to ensure that we steer this country forward. Maybe the president is not interested in having a successful Kenya in terms of trade and other things, or maybe mining, because instead of getting people who are professionals in those areas, he decided to want politicians. So I think maybe the president is not interested in having a successful Kenya come 2027, that we can say the UDA government, this is particular thing to peoples of Kenya. Okay.
Dan, Ali Hassan Joho has been nominated for the Blue Economy and Mining docket. And this is the thing, Salim Vuria was initially the one that was in charge of that particular docket. Maintaining this particular docket in the course, what's the essence of this?
I think there is a traditional belief in this country that the Coastarians having been living at the coastal region, it is easy for them to understand the blue economy. You can't pick a person from the Bara side to come and head that particular department. So I think that you may not be able to get the best from the blue economy based on that traditional belief, because we need to see most of professionalism. Marine knowledge requires professionalism. It requires someone who understands marine and the blue economy sort of things. But if we just rely on the traditional belief that a coastarian should be running the marine affairs of this country, we are going to lose. Nothing much should be expected from that docket.
Tourism, Rebecca Miano, initially she had been proposed for AG, and now she's going to tourism, a docket that was initially held by, that is Alfred Mutua. Alfred Mutua now has been transferred to Labour. Let's focus on Rebecca Miano and tourism. Why not accept AG and go for tourism?
I see that begs the question whether we are having a dead or alive government, because if someone say that kindly, if there is someone will be given a position, that someone says that kindly President, kindly give me a more lighter ministry, that's a clear indication of a sign of non-qualification. The person is not, he doesn't believe, or she doesn't believe that she can do better in any of this. And I don't know why the President can't, even if someone have said that kindly give me a more lighter position, that the President can still go ahead and give someone. It's not that the tourism is more lighter, but the person have shown a sign that she is not qualified for this position. So why don't the President think of any other person that even Rebecca Miano too? Because she has shown signs that I am not qualified. What if a person have disqualified herself from this position? So regardless of the position, but as a cabinet position. So I think here again the President could have thought of another. You see, I'm finding it very difficult. You see, when my colleagues say that they are custodian, you see, those are kind of backward kind of sentiment. We cannot have, because we do want to tell me that even for the mining in Mombasa, we only have Joko who is qualified. We have people who have gone to school for those particular purposes. Okay. So I think at this point, that's why we say that the President missed it in terms of trying to give these piece of positions. As much as he was rewarding politics and regions, I think we would have gone for specifically qualified people in those specific regions. But I think I don't think if he'll do better in tourism.
All right, Salim Vuri, of course, has gone to trade and investment. Let's take a look at John Badi, of course, coming from the opposition side. This is, people online are saying he's qualified for this particular position. I don't know your take. This is the same man that during the last vetting of CSS, he came out and said, okay, 60% of these people will not perform in government, but the President insists that we should give him the people to work with. And now we are going to pass we have a choice to make. We're going to pass this and give the President his skunk. He's coming to, in that particular, work with some of the people that he did not, quote unquote, consider good for this particular job, if at all Parliament goes ahead and approves his nomination. How do you think he would be as a CS for Treasury? Which is a docket, by the way, that confirming has been held by one particular region for a very long time. To some extent, people believe that this is now breaking the ice.
I think John Badi, professionally, I think he has experience in financial matters in this country. And if you realize since 2013, he has been a strong financial critic to all the governments. So I think he's bringing the vast experience of criticism into the docket, whereby now we need to see the practical skills used to mention on TV into the real ministry and its real performance. I think historically, the President has broken the history, bringing this treasury seat back to Nyanza or a different person. But where we are today, we need someone who can articulate and do financial planning for this country, in that we avoid the wastage, we avoid duplication of resources, we avoid misuse and misdirection of resources in this country. Okay, the ball fits at John Badi's feet. Okay. To me, I expect him to do well, because he's a first-time minister in this docket, Treasury. We expect him to do all the best in terms of delivering according to the demands, the financial demands of this nation and every planning. The best thing to do is let's give John Badi space. Okay. Because for a long period of time,
if at all the National Assembly is going to allow,
of which I know he's around 75% to be approved, as the tidings are moving around.
All right, Opio Andai, another person from the opposition side. This is the leader of the minority in the National Assembly. Now, going to the Ministry of Energy. I come to you, Augustine. Opio Andai, energy, I don't know. What do you think?
As much as the seat is political, in terms of Baba's negotiations into position, I think Opio Andai might not do that badly in that position. But again, this is the point that we want to beg the Parliament to reject all these politicians that are, you see, Opio Andai is an elected leader, he's a minority leader in there. So it's not like that he's a political orphan somewhere suffering in the cold like people like Akina Joe or Oparanya that the President had to consider, despite even regardless of whether they are qualified or not. These are the people that the President should reject, so that they can go back and deliver to the mandate of the people who elected them. Though he might do well in that particular position to ensure that we move forward as a country. And again, these are the clear indication whereby the government does not want to be blamed as the government. He wants to be blamed in unison with the opposition, that we came together, we formed a government, we gave them ministries, they didn't deliver. You see, these are the people that have been criticizing this government. And you see the president been cut. You see the people that the president has nominated for this particular post are critics of his government, are critics of these particular ministries, are people who have come out and say, we don't like this, we don't like how we're doing. So the president is like, now you've been speaking from outside. I want to give you an opposition so that you can come to the government and do what you are saying from us. If I was to be Opio Wandai or John Badi, I'll reject this nomination and say, me, I don't want it, so that I can criticize the government from outside. Because if this government fails, they will fail this government.
Do you think people stand a chance of rejecting this party? I don't know. Do they?
No,
because people like John Badi, to some extent,
if these politicians meanwhile are for what they have been seeing, it's not that these politicians are political.
We go back to the rhetorics we've been able to hear in the past few days, especially coming from John Badi with these particular nominations. These are people that at some extent saw it coming. They knew that they actually been nominated for something. And in terms of rejecting, I doubt that is a possibility. But let me ask you this before I take on Kipchumba Murkomen. The need to get into the National Assembly and pick elected leaders, so nominated members of parliament, into these particular positions. Why that?
It's a clear indication that we don't have the president. Maybe the person that we're having is not able to listen to Kenyans. Maybe the person that we're having is not able to know that we've taken people to school to study education. Maybe the person that we're having in the seat of the presidency is not aware that we have jobless, qualified Kenyans who can do this job to its capacity to ensure that he delivers. Maybe the person that we're having have no interest at all of making things better. And maybe the person that we are having was maybe found himself there and has nothing to do, and has nothing in point in terms of how to make this government better. And this is a clear indication that as a country, as much as we're going to the streets, the president is not ready to listen to anyone, leave alone the people, even despite the lives that we have lost in the streets, how people have been tear gassed, people have been arrested unreasonably for change. It means the president don't care about them. He cares about his political life, about his political move, about his political future, and about his political friends. So at this point, I think Gen Z should make the bolt more tight, because this is the time now to tell this government that we are not happy, we don't appreciate, you are taking us for granted, and will not take it as a yes.
So you say the pressure should increase?
Yes.
Let me come to you, Dan. This is the thing. Kipchumba Murkomen transferred from the Ministry of, not transferred, but initially held the Ministry of Roads, and now he has there's a possibility that he could actually be heading to the Ministry of Youth. This is one person, to some extent, that when people were actually sitting down and pointing out some of the leaders and cabinet secretaries that showed a lot of opulence and disregard to the public, his name came out so much. There's a little bit of celebration when, even coming from his own hometown. Yeah, exactly.
Elgeyo Marakwet.
Exactly. In terms of people celebrating that, oh, by the way, this person needed to go. And yet again, we are saying he's been recycled. Roads to youth. Talk to me about that.
I think this Ministry of Youth and Sports has never been given much regards or honor. I think it's sometimes it's behaved to be a dumping zone. Okay. If you look back when Ambassador Mina Mohammed, when things were tough on her in education, meaning CBC issues, where was she dumped? Youth, sports, and culture. So I think in this area, this Ministry of Youth, the president need to have done better than appointing Kipchumba Murkomen. I think Murkomen has a 2-year, he has a poor history of performance in the ministry was in before. So coming into youth and sports, I think he's going to do just a duplication of his irresponsibility, opulence as such, and sort of thing that we don't even mention even on TV. But I truly believe that we need to handle this youth, sports, and culture very well, in that to bring someone who is competent, someone who observes professionalism, someone who understands the game, someone who understands the policy, that can be able to elevate a Kenyan youth from the streets into areas whereby they can be able to exercise their professionalism.
Do you believe he's going he will be a good fit for that particular ministry?
Out of the experience we had with him under Rhodes, I don't expect much from him.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, this is the thing. I'm running out of time, but I want us to finalize on some of these names as we wind up. This is Labour, Mutua, from initially it was Foreign Affairs, transferred to the Ministry of Tourism, and now it is the Ministry of Labour. Augustine, let me start with you. 30 seconds.
No, I think he will not do well. I think he will not do well because from this government, he has this is the third time he's moving inside the, this is the second time.
The idea of being shifted around means that you're not performing in your ministry.
Yeah,
so
yes, it means you're not performing the ministry, but I can't let go of you because you're coming from a certain reason, or maybe you played a very key political role during my campaign. So these are political offers that the president does not know what to do with them.
You put like this.
Maybe
he has to baby around.
Maybe their pockets are heavy for the president to play them. But seriously speaking, now this is the time that we need the parliament to come out and reject and not pass such names. Tell them, go back home. You have done well in the previous one, or you've done bad, and we can't take you anymore because we expected new faces. So, but our rescue at this point is the Parliament of Kenya.
Okay. Duale and Soipantia, there's a little bit of an interchange. I don't know. Climate, give it to her. I don't know if being seen like working is working, or what do you think with this particular change in terms of Soipantia now taking over defense and Ade Duale going all the way to the Minister of Environment? Dan, let me start with you.
I think Soipan did very well under the Minister of Environment in terms of the climate change policies, tree planting, forest sort of things. She was doing well. And when a president reappointed her, and I expected her to be reappointed because out of the performance of things. So when she came for ministry again for environment, I was comfortable. But now the shift into defense, I think it's more of political. I think it's a move to save Duale than to castigate Soipan.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that Duale with the issue of defense, people feel that during the demonstrations like even Tuesday, the issue of handling of the military on the streets, Kidogo, not politically correct. So I think it's an issue of salvaging the Duale's career by putting him the Minister of Environment, while now trying to place Soipan in the Minister of Defense.
Okay.
And in this case, she'll benefit because now she'll have the status of sitting in the Security Council, you know, having more interaction at a bigger platform than where Duale will be sitting and also be able to develop.
More interaction apart from planting trees together away from that. Mr. Oparanya, that is Kakamega Governor, my governor, Mr. Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, former Kakamega Governor, into the Ministry of Cooperatives, and also just as we wind up, you also comment on Justin Muturi from being the Attorney General to the Ministry of Public Service. Quickly.
Okay, Justin Muturi. You see, Justin Muturi, in the ministry that at the position of the AG is what he was qualified. Okay. But if he didn't do well in terms of advising this government, he shouldn't be anywhere within this cabinet, anywhere at all. So him being moved to another, now that's a dead, because now he's not qualified. If you cannot do well in your field, in your area, it means technically you can't do well in other fields. So I think that's also a political demagogue that this government has carried through, that the parliament should reject. Oparanya. Oparanya should not be anywhere in this government. The gentleman is too old to be in this government. The gentleman has served people of Kakamega, and people maybe were satisfied, not dissatisfied. So I think the House should reject, and the President should give us, if it is regional, it should give us another person from Kakamega.
From that particular region. Dan?
I think we need to set a trajectory in this country. If you are serving governor, when you retire, you retire. We don't need to give them.
If you retire when you're young, what are you supposed to do with your
life? You retire. You need to set a trajectory in this country.
Yeah.
Whereby if you're a governor and you have retired, just retire.
Okay.
You don't need a government to give them a bedroom to come and seek some other retirement benefits, because retirement is retirement. You do your 2 terms like the president, you move. I don't expect much from him. Not because I'm not liking him, but don't expect much from him.
Okay. Now this is the thing. We expect the vetting process to be, of course, rigorous. And this is the thing also. Some of these people have been investigated by EACC when it comes to matters corruption and embezzlement of funds, especially when they were serving at the county level. Talk of Mombasa Governor and also Wycliffe Oparanya. How should Chapter 6 be very critical when it comes to passing these particular names to different ministries that they've been actually nominated, and with the possibility of them being appointed to lead? 30 seconds because I'm out of time.
If it is truly that we uphold the rule of law, the parliament should know that all these that have been nominated to go to parliament for vetting, any other person that have been involved in any other corruption or any other court case should not be allowed any chance to serve the people of Kenya. This is their time to come through for Kenyans. And if they don't, the GSC should take note so that the people that should be recalling are the people that will pass these names.
Okay, chapter 6, integrity.
I think there's a notion that should be changed in this country, that you are innocent until proven guilty. People should take political responsibility and leadership responsibility when you're mentioned in any corruption case, either proven or not proven. Just take responsibility until the moment you become clean.
Okay.
That should be the honest thing and the best thing you can ever give this country as a leader.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dan and Agustino Mondi, for your time and making time for this conversation here. Try to make sense of the state of affairs as far as President William Ruto's speech is concerned and reconstitution of his cabinet. He has listed quite a number of names there. Most of them are from the opposition side, and that is the ODM party, trying to fit them in different ministries. My name is Brian Amuai. We are always glad. And thank you for trusting us to be your go-to people when it comes to giving you information that matters to you. Let's do this again next time. Do have yourselves a lovely afternoon.
Cheza kama wewe na cheza sita. Ushinde hadi mara 5,000 ya beti yako teke teke.